Hi, my name is Frank Schaefer. I am a writer and painter and commentator, and I grew up in an evangelical fundamentalist missionary home. My father is one of the founders of the religious right, Francis Schaeffer. If you Google him, you'll find out that along with Sievert Koop, he more or less invented the evangelical pro-life movement that morphed into the religious right, that morphed into the presidencies of Ronald Reagan and the Bush family, that now finishes by excreting Donald Trump. But I want to say something now that you're not going to hear very often in this country. We have too much religious liberty. You know, what does a Hasidic Jewish woman in New York have in common with a fundamentalist evangelical child in Alabama beaten senseless in the name of biblical discipline? What does Muslim women in Iraq and Iran and Saudi Arabia have in common with Roy Moore's 14-year-old young woman that he allegedly molested? They all have one thing in common, and that is the Abrahamic religions share something, and that is a terrifically low view of women. Just ask Mike Pence, our vice president, this theocrat who would like to turn America into something that looks more like Handmaid's Tale if he had his way. Just ask Roy Moore about what he would do with the gay community if he had his way, which is hang him. That's what he would do. He would follow the, quote, biblical law. The fact is, the rule of law is what makes our country have a semblance of freedom, not its biblical, theocratic, Muslim, or Jewish roots. Get that through your head. When local government is corrupted, as it is in New York City, in parts of the city where Hasidic Jews have incredible corrupt power, women seeking divorces have their children given back to abusive husbands inside the community, and they are thrown out. Kids who leave can't get a job because they never even were taught to speak English because of religious liberty, of being able to go to schools that aren't schools. State government funds are taken to back religion. In America, our Secretary of Education is now in the business of trying to get public dollars for private schools, and by that she means religious schools. Our president plays games with the religious right. He could care less about them, but people like Ralph Reed and the values voters and all the rest of it are using him, trading votes, their votes, and their support for this philandering, bigoted, misogynist abuser of women in return for getting judgeships, people who will wink and nod and look the other way, the way so many judges in New York do about the persecution that the Hasidic community is able to unleash on women who want to leave, on children who want to leave, and so forth. So let's get something straight. America has too much religious freedom in the sense that when religion and the rule of law collide, as they do with increasing frequency, whether it's bigotry against the gay community and not serving them from trivialities like baking cakes to bigger things, or whether it's Roy Moore and his supporters talking about biblical precedent for abusing children and how that's really okay. The fact of the matter is, if you take the Bible literally, it is okay. Look at the Bible. Women were chattel property. We need less religious liberty in this country and more rule of law. And it's an argument I make in my book, Letter to Lucy, a manifesto of creative redemption for the age of Trump, fascism, and lies. It's about what real care for children is about, real education is about. It's about culture and the formation of the human mind, not running away from our intellects and art and beauty. Letter to Lucy is a call to sanity, not to some form of religious liberty, but to some form of care, love, compassion, empathy, beauty. And it is really the only answer we have to this idea of religious liberty run amok in our American version of theocracy, which Mike Pence is engineering through this weak fool, Donald Trump. By the way, it's only available on iBooks because only they have the technology for my designer EJ and I to have included the music, the film clips, the art, the poetry, the literature that people need to arm themselves against the coming theocracy that we now face in this country. We are going to become the new Saudi Arabia if we're not careful. Thank you. My name is Frank Schaefer.